are in a little different format, but here we are at Revup for Success Radio, and I'm so excited to be sharing with you our new venture and our new vision and the things that are going to be happening new as we move into a new year. We're getting really close to a new year, and I love new beginnings and new opportunities. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So here at Revup for Success Radio, we are bringing inspiring people and ideas together so that you can have a journey that's exciting for you, that you'll learn from our guest, and that your journey is going to miss those potholes and you're going to be able to get around those detours more safely. And that's what our show is all about. And I'm always excited about the guests we have. And I'm excited today to introduce Ruben Cano that's with us. And so you're going to be seeing a lot of Ruben in the future. And I can't wait to share with you who he is and what our vision is together. And we have brought together our ideas to create something new and fresh for you, and as well as keeping some of the past things that we've been doing, because we know that it's been working really well and we've had amazing guests so far. So we want to bring that to you too. So this is our new direction. Because I'm really focused on bringing people to the One Domino, the one that introduced me to this whole thought and idea is Ruben. So Ruben, tell us just hi and a little bit about you and what you do and the mission that we're on. Okay.
Hi, Claudia. Well, thank you for taking the opportunity to have me on your show. This is totally awesome. And I'm really excited about what you and I are going to be doing together. Again, my name is Ruben Cano. My focus is digital marketing. I basically help people get distribution for their services, products or services by doing the marketing online. And I think we're going to be definitely looking to grow this radio show, and I'm really excited to be part of the whole process with you, Claudia.
Well, and about 6 months ago, it's getting close to 6 months. I think about 6 months ago, Ruben and I met, and it was like instant. We knew we were going to connect on something big. We were going to do something, right or wrong. We were going to do it and get it done. And that's what's been exciting. We've been on a journey and we've been building and creating things. And I had this vision of doing this show, what we're going to call Rev Up for Success Live. And so he supported that idea and he said, yeah, let's just do it. So he's going to be engaged in many of the shows. He'll be here even helping with some of the interviewing of our guests as they come on, as well as he'll have some content that he'll bring to you too. So that's exciting. So Ruben, thank you for being my inspiration and helping me get it done.
Well, my pleasure, Claudia. And you're doing a great job in this direction that we're going. I think you're very excited about what we can do. And it's been really nice to see you with that enthusiasm. And especially after we started talking about that one domino concept. And I see you taking that really to heart, and I think that's made a big impact on some of the directions that you're taking, and not just in the radio show, but in a couple of other areas in your business. So that's awesome.
Well, and that's interesting because one day Ruben and I were on the phone. We don't live in quite the same area, so we were conversing on the phone, and he's telling me this story about the domino. I don't even know what generated that conversation, but he started telling me about the power of the one domino, the book that's out by Gary Keller, which is The One Thing. He talked about that a little bit. I ordered that book right away, became very passionate about it. And then he was telling me about this what he had seen, where the one domino starts knocking over and keeps building and building bigger and bigger dominoes until the final domino goes over. And so I went online and looked at it on YouTube, which I'm loving YouTube, and we're there now too. But it's like watching this, starting with the tiniest little domino, the size of my little fingernail, the white of my fingernail. And it was progressively larger, each domino. And by the time the 13th domino came into place, it was 100 pounds and probably about 3.5 feet tall. And this man pushes, and you go online, you can see this wonderful video, and it's under the progressive dominoes. And it's like he pushes that he had to put it down with tweezers, it's so small. And he pushes that first little domino over, and it eventually pushes over that 13th domino that weighed 100 pounds. And then we started hearing the stories about these cardboard pieces the size of plywood that they pushed over until they could blow out a wall in a building. And I'm like getting so excited about the power of one thing. If we just have one thing we're doing. And so I do more than one thing. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But my one things all focus on one thing. And that's inspiring you. Everything I do is here to inspire you. And me too. I get to inspire myself. And so basically the one domino is the concept of the radio show, moving it forward to a different distribution manner and creating something even more awesome. So we're excited about doing that. And Ruben's part of that. And he was my inspiration.
Awesome. We're glad that I could help with that, Claudia.
And then
you have that fire in you already.
But then he inspired me because everybody's calling me the Get It Done coach. So he inspired me to go and get that domain. So now you're going to be able to follow me under the Get It Done coach. Don't forget to put the in front. The getitdonecoach.com. Right to my website. He's set it all up for me with his digital marketing expertise and genius. So it's and we just keep making it happen. But I know that since we've started focusing on that one domino concept, don't you think, Ruben, that things are really happening more powerfully?
Yeah, I think that has, I know that is a great concept. And I think the more that we put it to work, I know that it was a recent discovery for me, and definitely had an epiphany. And I've been doing a lot of these one thing focus type of actions that create big impact. So yeah, it's been really an awesome experience.
We just don't quite know what's going to unfold next. I mean, we're just sitting in awe of the things that are happening because we've put this into place. So we're here to inspire you to do that too. But in the process, we keep bringing you inspiring people. And I've had this whole amazing opportunity to meet people. It's almost like something about what's going on is a magnet to bring these amazing people into the space to be on the radio show. So if anybody's checked out the archive shows, they'll see some amazing people in there, right, Ruben?
You had some great people on there, very inspirational people. A lot of everyday people doing amazing stuff, which is really the core of the show, which I think is phenomenal. So, yeah, as we head into this new direction that we're going to be going with the show, we're going to be on YouTube, of course. We're going to have a very exclusive channel there. And there may be people, Claudia, that maybe are not that familiar with your story, how you ended up with the successful radio show. You are also a published best-selling author. You're a business coach, a health and wellness coach. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your story so that people get to know you a little bit better?
Okay. Well, I'll try and keep it really short because all of you know that I'm in my 7th decade. And so I've had an opportunity to collect a lot of things. But what's really cool is on that journey, somehow, by miracles, a God miracle, I'm sure, I've been on a journey that just keeps focusing and moving me toward the same goal, the same purpose, which is about inspiring people and helping them to see their greatness in them and that they have all these possibilities. So on my journey, we'll talk about how I got to this first book, actually. And you can tell I have it all dog-eared. I read my own book. But it was like somebody was interviewing me, and they said, Claudia, you have so much knowledge in your head. And I have. For 40 years, I've been doing personal and professional growth. I had my own franchise in a course that was self-improvement course. I had that for 6.5, 7 years. I sold that, moved to Southern California, had opportunity to go to be a contracted person with Disney. How that happened, that's a whole nother story, but I'm really not sure how that happened. I just felt blessed. And then Disney saw something in me I didn't know was there, and they moved me into doing team building, introduced me to other Fortune 500 companies, and I got to go on that journey. And then when I turned 45, I had this urge, this real need to teach high school. I'd always had it on my bucket list, and I thought I'll just teach high school for a couple of years, and ended up teaching 22 years. But I took what I'd been teaching in Disney and the Fortune 500 companies and marketing, and just kept expanding that with the kids. And I just decided I didn't care if my audience was the boardroom or the classroom, as long as I could inspire people and the lights came on, I was a happy camper. So I got to do that. I taught small business ownership, entrepreneurship. I even taught it in Russia with an interpreter. But so now I had left teaching, and somebody was interviewing me, and they said, you have so much knowledge in your head, you need to write a book. And so in the course of that, I said, I can do that. I have a whole course for women. He said, no, you need to write a book for us, for men. And so I said yes. And there's such a power in saying yes in something that's aligned with who you are and who you're meant to be. And so I said yes and walked away scratching my head. What did I say yes to? Because men had never been my primary focus before. I'd worked with a lot of the CEOs who were male, but I'd never had that as a focus. So I walked away with that, said yes. 2 weeks later, I had the title of the book. I woke up with it. And then 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to New York for Christmas with my husband to go visit our kids, and sat next to my next person that just inspired me and changed the course of my life. And so it was like he was sitting next to Dale, my husband. I was next to the window. Dale, my husband, was in the middle seat, and this man takes the aisle seat. He's dressed professional, heading to New York, and I thought, I need to interview men for my book so that I know what the expectations are in all the different industries. So I leaned across Dale and I said to this man, look, you're heading to New York, you're dressed professional, I need to interview some guys for my book, and told him about the book, and he got excited. He's leaned across my husband, we're nose to nose, and he was excited about the prospects. He got tapped by the flight attendant. She said, you're in the wrong seat, sir. He had to move, but he took my business card. And by the time I got to New York, he'd emailed me and asked if I wanted to talk to him face-to-face or on the phone. And of course, I said face-to-face. Sent that email off and scrolled to the bottom and saw that he was the vice president of Deutsche Bank on Wall Street. So I got to go to Wall Street and interview this amazing man. I realized I was on a much bigger journey than I thought was possible. And so sometimes we have to just take things in little pieces so that we don't get overwhelmed, because if I'd known I was going to be on this big journey, I might have gotten afraid, but fear never entered my mind. So we started on that journey, and I got to go to the Pentagon and interview somebody. I interviewed 12 amazing men for that first book, and it became Dud to Stud, Revving Up for Success. And then it just moved from there to other books. And that was the story of that journey. But it was the power of saying yes. And the other big piece for you to learn from this is that I leaned across my husband and said something to that man. I felt this nudge, say something. The door hadn't even closed on the plane yet. The wheels weren't up, nothing like that. And I'm normally more polite, but I felt this urge. And so I leaned in and grabbed that opportunity. If I hadn't, today probably wouldn't be around. And then when I finished the book, I didn't know what my next step was. And so somebody said, you love the interviewing, why don't you do a radio show? And that's how we got to the radio show. So that's my story.
That's quite a story. So two things that kind of I want to go into a little bit more. How long ago was this, by the way, that you wrote that first book?
Actually, the first book was done October 12, 2012.
2012. Okay, so in 4 years. Now, here's the interesting part, and I think this really illustrates it's a perfect example of that one domino that we were talking about, because there was a moment in time there that you made one decision, you did one action, which probably was reaching across the aisle to ask the first person that you interviewed.
My first contact. Mm-hmm.
So that was that first little domino that set everything else in motion. And 4 years later, here you are, 4 books, best-selling author, published author, award-winning author, right?
Yes.
And the radio show.
And the radio show. Yes.
It's amazing. Yeah. So the idea of that one domino, and I think a lot of us, maybe already do some of those actions, but we don't have that awareness that if we intentionally do these actions, if we intentionally focus our attention on moving that one domino, flipping the little one domino, I think the impact that we can have in our lives and the lives of others could change significantly.
And that's true. And it's the people that step into your life too that we want to give recognition to them. I call them balcony people, but they're mentors, they're coaches, they're people that just care about you and feed into your growth. And in that case, I think of my first person was Joanne Wallace, who invited me to have a franchise in her company, her self-improvement company. And audience, this is what you have to know about me. I was 32 years old, so this was 40 some years ago. And Joanne was speaker where I was the president of a club, and I sat next to her. And after the meeting was over, she turned and she asked me to be part of her company. I didn't even realize she could possibly be talking to me. I turned to see who she was talking to, because I turned back and looked at her and I said, me? I'm just a frumpy housewife teaching sewing classes to pay for my kids' orthodontics and piano lessons. That's how I saw myself. But she saw something in me, and it took me a while, but I finally said yes to her request and became a franchise owner in her company, which my franchise became one of her top 2 in the world. And wow. I didn't even think it was in me. But part of that growth was her mentorship. She not only saw something in me, but then she stood by me, trained me, mentored me till I could stand on my own. So, that's the kind of people we want in our life. And when you have somebody, please recognize them. Send them thank you notes, send them hugs, send them something, but be sure you keep letting them know how special and how they changed your life. So she was like that first person that really moved me in that direction. And then when I came to California, somebody gave me an opportunity to meet with Disney, to be involved in their business side of their company. And then Disney became, believe it or not, my balcony person, because I went in as the image expert on how to dress for success on a budget. That's why they had me come in. But they said, you're so good at bringing management and employees together. Why don't you come in and do some team building for us? Again, it ran through my mind. I did not verbalize it, thank goodness. But I said, okay, and walked away wondering, how am I going to do that? And I came home and said to my husband, Dale, I said, I don't know if I can do this. What did I say yes to? And he said, you've been doing this kind of stuff for years. You just do the same stuff. And I said, okay. And Disney loved what I did, and it went on from there. And I used all those same principles when I taught school, and had a great journey using that experience. But it started with Joanne, my first balcony person. Disney was a great balcony person. And then I'm thinking too, I've had other mentors, but another key person is Raven Davis, who owns the Raven International radio show that I broadcast through. She said, Claudia, you can do this. Because I'm thinking radio show, but sounds hard, all the technical stuff. And she's, Claudia, you can do this. She said, I started in a hospital room while my mom wasn't well. And she said, if I can do it, you can do it. And she mentored me. She trained me and mentored me and gave me the courage to step out and do the radio show. So we have people in our lives like that. And then I feel if we have people in our lives like that, we need to be that for somebody else. So we need to be somebody's balcony person. Absolutely. So that's what the radio show I think is about, is here to be your balcony.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Quite a story. Now, how long have you had the radio show? Just so that people know.
That's exciting. We just passed our 3-year anniversary. Woo-hoo.
Exactly.
And I think we've done like 115 shows.
Wow. So you've had some amazing people throughout your radio show experience. You've had amazing people that you interviewed for the books that you wrote, especially the very first one that launched Things for You. You've had some people that have made a big impact in your life. You talked about a couple of them. Anybody else that really comes to mind? Somebody who really stood out as having a big impact on your life, Claudia?
I have had other people, and I'll mention those in a minute, but I want to also talk about what the radio show made possible. It's the steps, that one domino, and what comes out of it. Then doing the radio show, Then I felt compelled to do my second book, which actually was my third book, but I felt compelled to do The Savvy Women, Revving Up for Success, because I wanted to celebrate women that were making a difference in the world today. How did I know about these women? Well, I knew about them because a lot of them I'd interviewed on my radio show, or they knew somebody that belonged in this book. So the radio show even led to these amazing 20 women that I got to celebrate. And they call themselves ordinary women doing extraordinary things. And they are. But they're not that different than anybody else. They just have taken their gifts and their talents and their wealth and have applied it in powerful ways within our world, the whole world, not just our country, but within our world, making a difference. But what's cool about that is the radio show gave me the inspiration to do that book. You know, and I was actually getting ready to start what I was calling a movement in my area called Savvy Women. And I was putting on an event, and I was on my way to a radio broadcasting company, even though I had a radio show at the time. But I was being honored on a radio show to talk about my Savvy Women event. And on the way there, it was just like I felt this voice, and I believe it's God, saying, you need to write a book. It's not a movement yet, it's a book. And that's where that stepped into place and started that. But in the midst of doing that, I birthed this book because I was doing my business coaching and health coaching, and I realized I use the same principles in coaching, whatever I'm doing, teaching, coaching. And so those principles became the 7 mind shifts to ignite your success. And that book actually birthed before The Savvy Women, even though I was working on the Savvy Women book at that time. So you never know, but you just have to be open to opportunity. You have to be open to things that are coming your way. But back to the one domino. The one domino effect, or being focused, I didn't even know I was practicing it already until we talked about it when you brought it up to me this summer. Yeah. And then I realized I've been on this course. I think that's why this ignited in me when you brought it up, because I've been on this course. The power of that first saying yes to when I was asked to write a book, and then moving forward, and then all of these things transpire. But let me tell you, this is what I get so excited about, is when I'm out and amongst amazing people, it's like they're magnets. And I mean, that's like my show and everything's a magnet, and I get to talking to people, and I say, oh, I'd love to have you on my radio show. And they love the idea of coming and inspiring my audience. Wow, they love paying it forward. Yeah.
And now, the way I think you run your show, the way I understand it, you have people lined up already for like the next 2 months or so?
3.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, we're into March now, but yeah, and that's about as far as I can book forward and keep some control. But now that we're adding this whole new opportunity, this way of sharing with everybody, having the live also, we'll still be on the Raven International radio. We'll be broadcasting through that, but we'll also have it here on YouTube so people can see my guests visually. And
that's really exciting.
I know, and it's amazing how I talk to people that even have already been on the show, and some that are coming. But I said, we're trying this new thing. Will you come play with me on the, and they, oh yeah, of course. People love an adventure.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to be lining up for us in 2017. Now, you're an author. You have the business coaching that you do in your radio show. What would you say right now is something that you're the most passionate about?
Well, you know what? That's a good question, and it's a hard question, because I love it all, because I think it knits together. So I love my books. I'm very proud of my books, but the message in my book is the same message that we have on the radio show. As the guests that come on my radio show are pretty much aligned with my own heart and my own message and vision. So all of that just ties together. Coaching, I'm a teacher at heart. That's why I think I love writing books. I'm a teacher at heart. I think God designed me to be a teacher. And I love teaching, which is like coaching, and that's why I love the coaching, is because I can help people get on their journey, stay on their journey, and get it done. Do what their goals are and move that direction. And that's what a teacher does. In the classroom, I develop the content, I deliver the content, I help the kids play around with that content until it becomes really part of who they are and they can utilize it. And then the result is, whenever we take that final grade at the end of the year, their success. And hopefully I've done a good enough job as a teacher that they have gotten it done, that they get it done.
That's right. And I have definitely noticed that you have a very consistent message in all areas that you're involved in. And by the way, let's let people know about your new domain name where they can find you. Where you find all your different products and services basically that you do, and that's Get It Done Coach. GetItDoneCoach.com.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And they're also going to be able to follow us on the RevUpForSuccessRadio.com also.
That's right. So if anybody just wants to look at what is on the radio show, what's playing, what's coming up, definitely you can go to the, what is it again? What's the domain? Revup, the Revup for Success.
RevUpForSuccessRadio.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. And if for some reason you don't remember that, you just go, the Get It Done Coach will take you to the website, and there's a radio tab there that will also lead you right back to all of this information on the radio show.
Exactly.
We're going to have some exciting guests coming, and actually the next event that Ruben and I are going to do together, the next video presentation, we're going to be featuring some of my past guests. I actually have had 115 amazing guests, but I'm going to highlight a few of them. We're going to do a few each week, as well as bring on some guests so that you can see them live too. So that's what's coming. That's the vision. I'm excited, Ruben. Are you?
Yes, 2017 is going to be a transformational year in so many different areas. We're going to bring so much value to the people that have been listening to the radio show, and now we're going to give them some additional resources online. So yeah, it's going to be, I'm really excited about 2017.
Me too. I'm just excited about today and tomorrow and the few days we have before 2017, because you know what, we're coming into a season of thankfulness, and I'm grateful for all my listeners that have been with me off and on, or the whole time over the 3 years. I'm grateful for Ruben. I'm grateful for Ruben, yes, and that you've inspired me. And I'm also grateful for Raven, that she's made the broadcasting available to me over these last 3 years, and the opportunities that I've had with her. And actually our show won. We are the Shining Star show for 2016. So we won an award.
Oh, nice.
One of the Emmy Awards. So that was very cool. Yeah. So everybody, thank you for being with us today. We're excited that you were here on our first broadcast in this format. Very exciting, and we just trust that you're enjoying it and that you'll be back with us next week. And remember just to, my quote is, I like to follow your vision and your path will show up. So everybody, have a good one. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Claudia. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ruben.